I used to be the biggest proponent of exclamation points because how would I know that you were excited about something unless you used a ton of exclamation points or exclams? Now in my more mature state, I feel like, oh, we need to err on the side of not using them. But I think a lot of that has to do with Trump. I feel like now Trump uses so many exclamation points that I feel threatened in a way. Did you know I was gonna get so political?
I had no idea you were going there. I love it. Okay, face off. Erin from The Office versus the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Who would you rather have on your team at work?
At work, I think I would rather have Kimmy Schmidt. I feel like
Really?
maybe that is not the answer you expected. They're both very sweet ladies. Let me preface it with that. They're very, very sweet ladies. They're very hardworking ladies. I do think that Kimmy's steely determination would carry her through and get the job accomplished. The thing about these ladies, they're not dumb, but they don't have a lot of book smarts.
Yeah.
So I hesitate to say you want to work with either of them, but I think it'd be Kimmy because she would figure out how to get it done correctly.
If either of them were gonna have a $1 billion idea,
Yeah.
which one do you think it would be?
Oh, Kimmy. I really feel like even though she was away from the world for a number of years, that she clicks into something. You're taking credit for my book. That's like tracing. Maybe she feels something that's in the zeitgeist. I think she would be more likely to have the $1 billion idea.
So I love your book, My
Thank
Squirrel
you.
Days. You revealed something about yourself in your book that I didn't know, and that is that you are a quitter. You quit the Princeton field hockey team.
Yes.
What is the lesson that the reader should take from this?
Okay, it is okay to quit. We don't need to call it quitting, we can call it going a different direction. But for example, me on the Princeton field hockey team, that's a nice way of putting it. I was warming the bench. I was literally a practice dummy. I believe my coach called me that once. So when you are a practice dummy and you feel like I only have 4 years at college, I maybe want to be doing something else where I'm making more of my time. Thank you very much. What is it? Thank you next. I'm very pop culturally literate.
Thank you next.
Thank you next.
No exclamation mark.
None.
So you left,
Yeah.
and you did pursue something else.
I joined the improv comedy team. Every college has one. They always have hilarious names. Ours was Quipfire with an exclamation point at the end. Very funny already. And I really do feel like if I hadn't quit the field hockey team, I wouldn't have pursued this other thing. So I do think that was a smart move.
Love it. So let's take a little walk down money memory lane.
Okay.
In your book, My Squirrel Days, you talk a little bit about growing up in kind of a privileged family, that
Yeah.
you had your parents were backing you up.
Yes.
How did that help you?
I didn't see it necessarily as a safety net, but I felt, I guess, a little bit buoyed by it so that I could take these improv classes and perform at these theaters where you aren't necessarily being paid, because I knew I could support myself with side jobs and also help from my parents.
So where did that come from, not to just be like, oh, my mom and dad could take care of me, but I'm gonna go make it for myself? Where did that work ethic come from, do you think?
My parents are both very hard workers. My mom stayed at home and took care of all of us, and my dad is a banker, and I feel like they have a drive and a strong work ethic, and they're very disciplined, and I feel like I must have picked that up from them. I do think it's pride probably would keep you from, oh, no, I'm 25, I'm in the city, I'm gonna pay my own rent. I don't want to have to ask my parents for help.
Who do you think taught you more about money, your mom or your dad?
It's a good question. I would say it might be actually kind of pretty even. My mom I will describe as thrifty. My dad I will describe as savvy. My mom will rarely get something that's not on sale. My dad will pay more for something that will provide him more comfort or ease, especially as he gets older, but they are not extravagant spenders in any way. They're not after the new hot item.
So you mentioned your dad was a banker. Your brother is also in banking. He's now kind of followed your father. Are you the black sheep of the family? Did you ever think about going into banking? Did they ever sit you down and say, Ellie, there's this bank, and we would like you to go have an internship here?
Not for a minute. And I don't know whether to be insulted by that. I really credit my dad because he never put any pressure on any of us to do any certain thing. He wanted us to be satisfied with the jobs that we had and to be able to support ourselves with the jobs that we had. So I feel lucky in that way.
Do you think it would be easier for you to go do your brother's job as a CEO, or for him to go do your job as an actor?
100% John to come do my job. John is extremely funny. He's funnier than I am. I was literally about to say he's good looking, which is disgusting, but I mean, he would do well on camera. I shouldn't say this, but if I walked into an office as a CEO, give me 3 months of training, then I could go take the job. But I think it would be maybe hard for people to take me seriously at first, I'll say it.
You have a whole chapter in My Squirrel Days called Businesswoman. And let's go back to your businesswoman days.
Yes.
You were dressed in Ann Taylor,
Yes.
I believe. What's the highlight of your businesswoman days, the pinnacle?
I sort of rose and fell in one summer. I was interning at Leo Burnett Advertising in Chicago. The pinnacle was getting a radio commercial for McDonald's on the air locally in Chicago for the triple bacon cheeseburger. I wrote the jingle. It aired for maybe 3 weeks. It did feel like a very tangible measure of success. And I felt like as the lowly intern, I was like, I'll be treated with a lot of respect now. Well, first of all, I was never paid for that, which I think is illegal. Leo Burnett made money from that, right?
I feel like they owe you money.
I feel like listen, when work dries up, I'm going to Leo Burnett. I'm like, you owe me $250.
We talked a little bit about things that you did in your 20s, your kind of the hustle to get up there. What do you think you did right in your 20s? And what would you do differently if you could go back and do anything?
I think what I did right in my 20s is I took all of the classes in improv and auditioning and like commercial auditioning that I could. What I would do differently is I probably would present myself maybe not as timidly, because I think it was easier to almost say, oh, I'm nervous and oh, I don't know what I'm doing, when I think if you just take ownership of your confidence a little earlier.
Just own it a little more.
Maybe.
Like a little more lean in kind of thing?
A little more lean in. And like, you don't have to be apologetic. You don't have to keep talking about how you're nervous. You either need to pretend that you're not nervous, or you need to just not be nervous. Because in your 20s, you're not a teenager. You're like learning how to get by in a big city and pursuing a new career. And okay, let's get to it.
So Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt just dropped its final season. What is next for you?
I don't know. I'm owning that. There's been talk of a Kimmy movie, which I think would be fabulous. So I hope that that goes through and we get to do that. Other than that, this is my first time making a job transition with a family. So I do think it's a little trickier, as any working parent has to do, figuring out, okay, well, what do you want to do next? Where do you see yourself living? How can you set up a home and do your work, and my husband can do his work.
It's a lot to balance everything. Okay, this is a speed round.
Okay.
Are you a saver or a spender?
Saver.
Impulse buyer or agonizer?
Impulse buyer.
Cash or credit?
Cash.
How much money do you think, what do you carry on a daily basis?
I have, usually I carry about between $160 and $200 cash. Right now I have more because I have to pay my babysitter.
Well, you actually carry a lot of cash.
Yeah, I think I feel safer when I have cash.
If you could design a new $1 bill, who would you put on it?
Oh my gosh. But this is maybe a little too current, but Nancy Pelosi. Love her.
Keep the penny or get rid of it?
Get rid of it.
What is the biggest money mistake that you think you've made?
I don't know if I should say this. One year I forgot to contribute to my SEP IRA, and that was huge. That's bad. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, because you lose all the compounding.
Yes.
You got to get it in there.
Right. And
leave it there.
And now it's not there.
What's the most important thing someone taught you about money?
Okay, so my grandpa, he saw me as extremely thrifty, and so he would encourage me to spend money on things that would spark joy. There's no use hanging on to your money if you're gonna be miserable.
What is your best advice to somebody?
Oh my gosh. Again, I feel ill-equipped to give anyone advice on money, but I would say, as an amateur, I would say save more than you spend, make a budget, and try to keep close to that budget. I think it will give you more security if you know how much money you have to spend in a week, in a month, in a year, and not make you as anxious.
You don't have to really even answer any more questions, but
Yeah.
my last question
Yeah.
is, the headlines you've written for The Onion, what's your favorite?
Grapes, big hit at area picnic. It's just so stupid, but it was the first one that I got in, and I was elated. And I remember this is how an artist works. I was eating a fruit salad when I came up with it.
I love you remember so much of
Very
that.
specific.
So you're done. Thank you.
There were
I love it.
no gotcha questions.
No, not a gotcha thing. It's more just a fun thing to learn about somebody through the lens of money.
Yeah.